One really common substance that we use in agriculture, particularly when you think about industrialized or wide-scale agriculture, is synthetic fertilizer. And that's kind of what's shown in this picture. So synthetic fertilizer has a lot of the things that plants need, and it has it in a very readily usable form. This is going to matter in a future video, but just kind of giving you some background as to what I mean by synthetic fertilizer. Synthetic fertilizer is made industrially, so this is made in a factory, but there is some variety in different types of fertilizers. So before we talk too much about that, let's first just introduce, I'm assuming you know why we use fertilizer. Fertilizer has nutrients that plants need to grow. This image is a really nice image showing that. So the plants on the right-hand side had a starter fertilizer. All this means is that when the plant was initially planted into the ground, there was some fertilizer kind of given to it then. And then plants on the left, also planted in the ground, no starter fertilizer added. And note, this is the same exact soil, right? Same exact plant. So as much as possible, everything is exactly the same except that starting fertilizer. So it is something that works. And when you are a farmer or you are producing your own food, having something that works, really nice to make sure that you're producing, enough vegetables and fruits in order to sell your goods, etc. This also speeds up the process too, which is also beneficial. So we use fertilizer to help our plants grow, and it works. So what exactly do I mean by synthetic fertilizer? As I mentioned earlier, this is something that's going to be made in a factory, and this is different levels of nutrients that are more bioavailable to plants, meaning that nutrient is ready to go ASAP. As soon as you put it into the ground with that soil, that plant's going to be able to start using it. Now, fertilizers pretty much all share the same thing. So let me get a pointer here. So a lot of the fertilizers all have three similar nutrients referred to as NPK. Now on this bag itself, because it's really small, you can't really see it, but it does say it down here. And the reason I mention this, I mention it for a couple of reasons. One, plants need these three elements. They need a lot of things, but this is what they need the most of. N is referring to nitrogen, P to phosphorus, and K to potassium. These are three elements found on the periodic table of elements, and that's where these letters are coming from. These are the chemical symbols of those different elements. But something that is different between these two bags, even though you can't see it in the small print, is what's kind of in the large print. So the bag on the left, so this one right here, is 16, 20, and 0. So of everything that's in this bag, it's 16 parts nitrogen, 20 parts phosphorus, and 0 parts potassium. You might be like, well, that doesn't add to 100. There's also other stuff in fertilizer, different nutrients, but also just filler so that it can more easily go into the soil. Whereas this bag on the right still has NPK in it, but you notice it has more nitrogen, less phosphorus, and has a little bit of potassium in it as well. This is going to become more important in a little bit on another video, but just know that not all bags of fertilizer are created equal. And why someone might get the bag on the left versus bag on the right is going to depend on their soil or depend on the crop that they're growing. So some crops are really nitrogen heavy. They need a lot of nitrogen, or that's kind of what's limiting them. Whereas other crops, their limiting thing might be phosphorus. Or maybe you're starting on a new plot of land and that new plot of land doesn't have a lot of potassium in it. So the synthetic fertilizer, what's great about it is that it can be tailored to what you're growing or what you already have, thinking about your soil. And this is kind of a benefit that we don't really have in our more natural fertilizers, which we'll explore again in a separate video. So when we're thinking about plants and we're thinking about fertilizer, I mentioned before that some plants are really nitrogen hungry and others might be really phosphorus hungry. So I want to introduce this idea or this law called Liebig's law of the minimum, because this is going to be really important when we start looking at how synthetic fertilizer impacts our environment. So Liebig's law of the minimum, all it states is that growth is going to be limited by your scarcest resource. And I don't know, this sounds kind of fancy, but it's really not. Now, this is growth in anything. We're talking about plants, so we'll just keep talking about plants. And what we mean by this is using this barrel. You see each slat of this barrel has a different chemical element. So here's that potassium, that nitrogen, phosphorus, carbon, sulfur, blah, blah, blah. Imagine this is a plant. And you give a plant fertilizer. It's got some nitrogen, it's got some phosphorus, it's got some potassium. Cool. But what it needs right now is potassium, right? If you gave it fertilizer, like that first bag of fertilizer that was like 20 parts nitrogen and 6 parts phosphorus and no parts potassium, cool, you could. Nitrogen would go up, the phosphorus would go up, but you're still lacking potassium. That plant's not going to grow just because you gave it nitrogen and phosphorus. It needs potassium, right? So this growth is limited by the scarcest resource. In this image, it's showing potassium is the scarcest resource. So until you give the plant potassium, it's not really going to take in that nitrogen or phosphorus. It's not going to waste its energy taking up things it doesn't need. Now you might think, well, it's gonna need nitrogen, it's gonna need phosphorus. Yeah, 100%. But it doesn't right now, right? If you're super thirsty and you're like dying of dehydration, me giving you a cookie is not helping this situation at all. So this Liebig's law of the minimum is kind of just like this technical way of saying you ain't grown unless you got all your stuff. Now, the reason I mention this, and this is where Liebig's law of the minimum meets nature, which meets synthetic fertilizer. The problem with synthetic fertilizer is it doesn't get absorbed into the soil super well. I say that's a problem. That's also kind of nice. It's meant for the plants to take up like ASAP. The problem is that if it rains or there's any kind of water, if you're watering the field, for example, if the plant hasn't taken up that fertilizer, it's not really binding to the soil, so that fertilizer just washes off the field. Not so great for the farmer who probably spent a lot of time and money applying that fertilizer, but also not so great for the environment with this influx of nutrients. The nutrients themselves aren't toxic, but they're going to cause some problems we're going to explore more in the next video. And this again is happening because if we put down fertilizer that the plants can't use, maybe because the plants are lacking in something that we just haven't given it, you're going to have this issue of runoff. So again, synthetic fertilizer, we use it because it works. For the most part, it's really not directly toxic itself. The problem is that if plants aren't taking it up because they're not getting the nutrient they need as dictated by Liebig's law of the minimum, then if we have any kind of water or precipitation event, we're going to lose a lot of that fertilizer where it's going to enter the environment. Check out the next video, which is going to explore why we care or why that matters.